Hello. Gonna see if this is working. Hoping that it is. Yes, it seems to be working. Sweet. I wonder if I can move this. Oop. I wonder if I can move this over here. If that does anything. That's what it did. That's not good. There we go. Now we can do this. Hold on. We can fix it. We can fix it. We can do this. We can try that, maybe. No. Don't seem to work. Let's try this. No, it straight up does not want to do. Makes me big sad. Okay. Now I know what I need to do. Sorry about this, everyone. No. That. And then now we gotta see. Yeah, I messed everything up. Alright. Much better. I can just do this. There we go. So, sorry to the one person who had to witness that. Hello, Babingo, or Babingipo. So, I am going to try to build this person. I've already tried to do it once, but I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to be building Link from Legend of Zelda as best as I can. Let's see. We'll start off. I'm using Aurora. Start there. Point by average hit points. Don't need any of those. No customize either. Alright, we'll create. I'll change the picture in a minute. So first thing we'll do, go in, no portraits, show all, and we'll scroll down, because I do have a Link portrait. Most important thing, not to build, you gotta get the portrait started. Alright, so I would argue, being a Hylian, that they're like an elf-ish, right? I go with half elf. Because I feel like, you know, he obviously didn't fit in with the fairy, like what I played was Ocarina of Time growing up. And Link in that story, the hero of time, didn't fit in with the fairy people there, but he, being Hylian and being kind of like involved with you know, having the fairies and Navi and that, I feel like half elf kind of works just because elves are big with the fae. Oh, Reinhardt is a good idea. No, that is a good idea. I will make Reinhardt next. Thank you. That is a good suggestion. I'll type that. Alright. So there's going to be a little bit of a joke in here if you stick with me the whole way when it comes to his ability scores and stuff. But we'll get to that in a moment. So starting off, I'm going to go half elf because, again, especially Ocarina of Time and Jorah's Mask, I felt like that kind of fits there. Plus, I like the benefits you get as well. Alright, so I'll start off with ability scores. Going to use point buy. I'm going to dump charisma because he doesn't really talk at all. But being a half elf, he gets no negative. Now with the class, I'm kind of torn between a few things. Because I do believe... No, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, what I like to do is have both dexterity and strength. This isn't necessarily optimal, it's more for flavor. So if you're looking for optimization, I may be frustrating. But I want to try to be closer to maybe faithful to the character, which may be less optimal, but a lot more fun. You know, like a bit more of the actual RP roleplay of the character stuff. So I'm gonna dump that. I want to start with 13th strength and dexterity. The class I'm gonna pick kind of gonna work, especially if you end up getting a lot more magic items from your DM. Gonna have a 10 Constitution to start, but we'll get to that later. Intelligence I'm actually gonna have at 14. No, I'm gonna have intelligence up to 16. Wisdom at 12, just to help with just basic RP, but also perception's really good to have, especially if you're, the dungeon crawler that he is. And this is going to be for our combat as well as the classes we're going to use. Now, don't worry about this Constitution thing. It's an app, I believe, called Aurora. Yes. Another really good one too is DnD Beyond. I know that there is, but that's a good question. D&D Beyond is one thing I wanted to use as well, but I like what Aurora has options for. But you should be able to build this character in D&D Beyond outside of, I don't know if you'll have all the features available that I may take. I think all the class stuff is going to be there, and then any magic or magic items or anything like that I think would also be available on D&D Beyond. But Aurora is it's an app, and I think if you have the PDFs like from D&D Beyond or something, you can run them through here. But yeah, I think, I don't know too, I know Roll20 is also another one, but there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, when it comes to D&D websites, there's a lot you can look up, and D&D Beyond, Roll20, those are better too if you want to not only get stuff for the game but into the game, or just look up Discords too. There's a lot of Discord servers I think out there, and Reddit servers. I don't usually do Reddit stuff, but anyway, I hope that kind of answers your question. I mean, another thing too, and this is just coming from a bit of a more old school person, but you could, especially if you're able to kind of go out where you are, look up any like gaming stores or like any hobby shops that like sell particularly tabletop stuff, cards. If they sell a lot of like Wizards of the Coast material, kind of like anywhere you might find like a Magic tournament, or any place that does like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon card games and stuff, or those hobby shops that sell tabletop stuff, board games, stuff for like Warhammer modeling, those would be places to look too, because they might actually have like local stuff they do. If you want to maybe, if you, especially if you're a bit more outgoing, if you want to more go the online route, it's a bit more common nowadays too, and probably just a bit better to dip your toes in, or if you have friends too is another good one. Online or either way, or a mix, you know, that'd be another good way to do it. But I hope I answered the question. I'll type it real quick. Anyway, we'll be increasing the strength and dexterity through that. That is awesome. That would be pretty freaking badass. That is awesome. I don't know how you would do something like that. Maybe could look into the artificer class for that one, or artificer. That might be one for good for something like that, or maybe even just a wizard. That's pretty killer. Or maybe you could convince your DM to have like a sandwich god, and you could be, or a sandwich deity or something, and you could be a warlock, or what would be a cleric for that. But anyway, for background for Link, I feel like folk hero kind of matches pretty good. Could I guess also do, I think maybe like haunted one if you really wanted to, from Curse of Strahd. But I think that honestly folk hero just kind of gets a lot of the good stuff. You get animal handling, need that for Epona, and survival too. That's just going to help with like dungeon crawling and stuff. And I mean, that's what you do. And also some of the abilities you get later in the game kind of rely on that kind of stuff. There you go. Now that is the best. That would be awesome. Pizza shield. Oh. Oh man. Now we could kind of pick some stuff. Defining trait, I mean, he is a hero. He stood up to terrible monster. You can just pick anyone that you feel, especially depending on the games. I feel this kind of matches a lot of times some of the missions you have to do. Standing alone against monsters. Personality traits, I would say that when it comes to alignment, you'll probably want to lean more towards good, and then I guess depends on how you like to play it, because there's a bit of role play in decision making in those games. So if you're more lawful, up to your choice. I feel like just because Link's very much the stereotypical hero, I'd say lawful or neutral good. Probably neutral good's more. Gotta do this. Nat 20 pizza shield. Hell yeah. But that's definitely what I would say. Probably closer to neutral good, so that. Flaws, honestly, your silent would be the flaw. Your character doesn't really seem to talk. Indeed, fire. So I have that, and again, that kind of gives us a starting for any multi-class we want to do, but the reason we have intelligence up so high is because the class we're going to pick is fighter. I mean, you're playing sword and shield for the most part. You use bow and arrow. You use, hammer. If you're allowed anything like a boomerang, you have a slingshot. So many different weapons that you can use. I think you could also maybe argue being an artificer as well. If you wanted to just maybe change it up a bit and get a lot more of the kind of special items, like magic items, the magnifying glass. You can essentially get winged boots that kind of function like floating boots. You can make stuff for water breathing. Essentially, you would cover a lot of different things there too. That's another good option, I think. But I think as a DM, if a character wanted to play Link, I'd probably myself would want to get them those magic items or allow them to seek them out and maybe make them a part of the journey, even if they're only used once, to kind of give the experience. But and then also you can get quests that way. Quests to find this. Now I can do it. And you kind of let them kind of figure it out. You give them the actual game experience. So because of that, I think a few things you could do. If you think you're going to be using your bow and arrow or even crossbow, if you want to go that route more, archery. The armor we're going to go with, I'm only going to go to studded leather really, unless you want to really get more heavy armor. Defense probably would be good, or dueling. I think defense probably is better. Unless even to the just wanted to go with any other things there, but for me, just to add a little more. Although I do. What do we do? We'll go with defense. Because we're probably going to need all the AC we can get, considering we're trying to be a bit more RP accurate. A bit more game accurate. Another thing too, just for languages, if you wanted, you can pick any language. Honestly, I would go with Sylvan. Talk to fairies, Fae. Now you can listen to Navi. You can change it too, so you can not hear "Hey, listen" all the time. Going over skills real quick. To be honest, a lot of these are pretty good. Obviously, perception. I would say then athletics and acrobatics. Unless you want to change it up there. Yeah, that is a good question there. Honestly, I would say investigation would be pretty good, just because that helps with finding traps in that too. But when it comes to that, But back to the build real quick. I would suggest, I guess you kind of can pick whatever you want. I know in Breath of the Wild, I think you're able to cook. But I think anything's good. Tinker's Tools might be good, especially if you were going more the artificer route. Brewer's Tools might be good too, or Alchemist Tools for making potions. You could also do, I think, Woodcarver School tools to make your own arrows. I think we'll go with that. So that we have the fighting style there. Starting equipment, I'd say just go to studded leather, and then obviously a shield. And your first weapon, you could do short sword or a long sword if you wanted. Let's see. Obviously proficient in a lot of stuff. You'll be having Megaton Hammer. You could have a Warhammer, essentially like the Megaton Hammer. You can have longbow, short bow if you're wanting to RP that you're younger, your younger self, stuff like that. Same with a short sword or even a dagger. I think a dagger, eventually getting like a dagger that returns would be good to simulate something like a boomerang, or if your DM wants to give you something like a boomerang, that'd be something cool to work out with them too. After this, we'll be leveling up. With this as well, on the fighter, each level we get, over here we have our hit dice. Fighters have a d10, so they're a bit more tanky. Obviously armor and shields, you can use any you want, but I think leather kind of sticks more. Like, he's essentially wearing a tunic, and I think you could argue that could be leather, maybe, just to allow for that. Having the shield, being proficient in martial weapons too is good. So yeah, you can have a longbow with arrows and a martial weapon and a shield, leather armor. So we got our fighting style. We went with defense just to give us a bit more boost to our AC. But you could also take great weapon fighting. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do. You also get second wind, which is kind of a good way for you to heal yourself. You could say maybe it's taking a little potion you've got, or Navi giving you a bit of health or something like that. You can do it once per rest. Level 2 we get action surge. So once per rest as well, you can essentially take a whole nother action. So you could use it to take the attack action, cast a spell, unless you've already cast a full spell, and then cast a cantrip. Do all sorts of other things you could do with your action, like dash, disengage, prepare to dodge, prepare something to react, all sorts of stuff. So pretty useful. Kind of honing in and setting up to do a lot. Martial archetype, that's going to be next level. So we get to kind of choose what we want to be here with this. Now, I think a good one without any magic, in my opinion, would be probably Battle Master if you want to just do straight dual fighting. There's quite a few other things too. I know Rune Knight's pretty popular, or has been considered pretty good. I don't know much about it, but it has some magic stuff that kind of seems like it could work. Arcane Archer is one if you were just to do using the bow, but I honestly think the Eldritch Knight kind of matches the best, just so you can get some magic in there. When we get that, we get some magic. So first off, how the Eldritch Knight works. They are, as it says here, a martial master, but they also have study in magic. They use magic techniques learned by wizards. So you get the wizard spell list. They are mostly abjuration and evocation, so defensive and offensive spells a lot. I am too when we get to that. Let's see here. But they also can learn a few other spells from the wizard spell list, and obviously too they get cantrips, and they do have spell slots, but they're less than half casters. They only get to I think level 4 or 5 for their spells. They use intelligence, being a wizard, so that's why we have our intelligence up. And as you can see, they only know up to 4th level spells, so they don't get very far in what they can do, but it does kind of enhance them there. They also get the ability to do a weapon bond, so you can't lose it. You can summon it as a bonus action. They can have 2 bonded weapons, so that's another way too if you wanted to essentially get something that can be thrown and come back to you. And you get some other cool traits as we go. So with the magic, the cantrips we learn, mostly going to be using player handbook. I might be using a few other things, but I can't remember if it's Link to the Past or it's just classic Legend of Zelda. But Firebolt, I think at the end of the game, if you had all hearts, if you held the attack button down, it would hold down and release like what looked like a magic arrow from your sword, and that is almost definitely Firebolt. Quite a few other options we could honestly go with. There's a couple good things from Xanathar's and Tasha's as well. Booming Blade's probably a pretty good one. But if you wanted like a utility spell, Prestidigitation isn't too bad. Mage Hand is really good. Rage Hand's probably the best one, and can kind of act in similar ways to some of the other things you can get. So for spells, we can start off with this. Obviously, we have Abjuration and Evocation for these two. To be honest, I think Shield, because Mage Armor won't really get us any more than we already have. Maybe a little bit more. Shield's a pretty good reaction. And Magic Missile's honestly a really good offensive one. You could also say that magic missile is kind of akin to what I was talking about there. But when it comes to your level 1 spell, Detect Magic's pretty good. Find Familiar isn't too bad either. If you wanted to get something for that, I mean, you could take any number of the reaction spell ones. Personally, I think Detect Magic is pretty good just because it could really, really be helpful. Disguise Self isn't too bad. False Life isn't too bad at all. You can increase 6 extra hit points there. Charm Person isn't too bad. Very useful. I'm going to go with Detect Magic. Although there are a lot of really good options, that's what I'm going with. Next level we get our first thing there. Now what I would honestly do is go with the feat first. Actually no, we're going to go with the ability score improvement. Here's where the joke comes in. Increase Constitution. We also get one more spell, which is Abjuration or Evocation. Chromatic Orb isn't too bad, although you have to spend 50 gold to use it each time. But you can essentially choose to hurl something at someone. You have to make a spell attack. Absorb Elements, I think, is pretty good a bit as a kind of self-help, but there's quite a few different things you could do there. Go with Chromatic Orb. A little bit expensive, but yeah. So after that we level up again. Reinhardt could be pretty interesting. Alright, so at 5th level, as a fighter, we have extra attack now. So we can attack twice per turn. What that means is, too, if we were to use Action Surge, we would then get 4 attacks, plus if we did a bonus action attack, we had that ability. Or not. Doesn't get another spell. I believe it's every other one. Yes. So instead of getting ability score improvement, we're actually going to take a feat. First feat we're going to take is Shield Master. Now we're taking that because we do want to be able to use the... Well, not only is there the ability to use the shove, which is okay, but the biggest thing is we can use the shield AC bonus to add to Dex saving throws. When a spell or something's attacking us. And if we're ever subjected to anything that allows us to make a dexterity saving throw to take half damage, we can use our reaction to take no damage when we succeed. Now that is, to me, the biggest thing about Shieldmaster. These two are nice. This is big, I think. It allows you to essentially use it when you succeed to just say no. But you lose your reaction, so it's kind of it's balanced in that way, I think. And we don't get another magic. Let's go up one more level. We do get another magic there. What else do we get? Let's see. As a fighter, I'm then also level 7. But as an Eldritch Knight, we get the ability to use our action to cast a cantrip and make a melee attack as a bonus action. Very interesting. So yeah, we have the ability to use our action to cast when we the ability to use our bonus action when we cast a cantrip to make an attack, which is pretty nice. Plus, we do get another magic, another spell. We now have second level spells. Now, here's where I think it gets a little interesting. It's still just abjuration and evocation, but you can kind of pick a few different things here. Honestly, I think Continual Flame is a good utility spell that makes sense as something you may have, not necessarily as a way to light things, but something like that. Definitely also feels like a good use of your rare spells. We level up again. Another ability score improvement. So we'll actually take that again. And with the joke, we level up Constitution. Because we're going to level up healing. We're getting hearts every time. We also get another spell. Now this time again we can learn any spell that's second level from the wizard. Or just about. Flaming Sphere might not seem too bad. Web has a lot of use. Invisibility, Hold Person, Enlarge Reduce. For second level spells. Blindness and Deafness is really good. Magic Weapon may not be too bad either. But I think I think you currently have a weapon, you can essentially be one. See Invisibility is actually pretty good. That's a bit more in line with some of the stuff that you can do in Legend of Zelda games. That might actually be a good one to have there. So we're on utility for that. Level up again. 9th level, we get Indomitable. Don't get anywhere magic, though. Level up one more time. 10th level. Tenth level is an Eldritch Knight. We need to learn how to make our weapon strikes undercut a creature's resistance to spells. When we hit a creature with a weapon attack, that creature has disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes against a spell our next turn. So, another good 2nd level spell to have. Might be something like Shatter, where maybe you throw a little magic piece that then shatters, and it's a Constitution saving throw. Could also maybe do something like Scorching Ray while you're making a skeleton. I would say probably go with something that's a bit more savey throwy. I think Shatter is actually a good one. When it comes to cantrips, I think Booming Blade might be the best choice there. A lot of thunder damage coming from you. But I think Booming Blade is just a good weapon, a good tool to have for this build. And especially if you're using like the Megaton Hammer, kind of fits a little bit. Let's see, going up a level, do we get any more magic? We do. I think we're getting 3rd level spells. Not yet. Still have 2nd level spells. Arcane Lock is a good utility spell, I would say, but let's see what other good ones we have here. Yeah, Light of Fire is a pretty good idea. We'll level up again. This time we will take another feat. And this feat is going to be Warcaster. And again, having advantage when we take damage. Our Constitution saving throws when we take damage for concentration is nice. Being able to perform somatic components when we have a weapon and shield in our hands is great. And also, being able to use attacks of opportunity to cast a spell when someone provokes it is amazing. Now we can use Booming Blade as a reaction to just start screwing people as they try to disengage, or as they and it forces people to disengage. It's a great thing. I love it personally. Don't get any more magic, and we level up again. Level 13 as an Eldritch Knight. We don't get anything there. As a fighter, we get another use of Indomitable. Indomitable is a great thing there. We got it at level 9. We get it at level 13 and 17. Essentially, you can re-roll a saving throw if you fail. If you do so, you must use a new roll, and you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. Now, we can do that twice, which is really, really good. And with that and Shield Master, we're going to be really, really, really hard to take down. So it's good. It allows you to, it kind of gives you too that Shield Master, and everything else gives you kind of that mirror shield ability. And in fact, there's another spell too, which we may want to take over Chromatic Orb, called Absorb Elements, that actually functions kind of like the mirror shield in a way. In fact, I would say that is probably a better one. Anyway, we also get to learn another spell, level 13, and now we have gotten into level 3 spells. Now, Fireball and Lightning Bolt are amazing spells to take. Dispel Magic is actually a very good one, I think. Especially with Indomitable. Or does Indomitable work that way? No, a saving throw, not an ability check. Very different. Remove Curse isn't too bad. Protection from Energy is also a really good one. In fact, it almost simulates the different tunics you can have. And it's kind of a good one to have as well. So we'll level up again. We get another ability score. Let's go with an actual ability score this time. And again, Constitution. Gotta keep getting those hearts up. We also get to learn another spell. This time we have the whole thing open. So we can learn any wizard, I think just about any wizard spell. So all the third ones, so Counterspell and Dispel, although those are Abjuration. So see if there's anything you like that is not that. Phantom Steed isn't too bad. You could use it as your calling Epona. I do not believe they have what I'm thinking. Water breathing is also a really good one if you need to go anywhere in the water, and you will. So that is actually a excellent spell to take. There are some other good ones too. But I would say that water breathing is a really good one to have. Unless you can get the potions for it, then you could take a different spell. So as a fighter at level 15, we get Arcane Charge. So we gain the ability to teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space. After using our Action Surge, we can teleport before or after the additional action, which is very nifty. Now, this is a spot too where if we wanted, we could change. We could maybe multi-class. We get the improved War Magic ability, which is essentially, instead of using just a cantrip, we can also use a bonus action attack when we cast a regular spell. And then in between, then we get on level 16, we get another ability score. At level 17, we get a third use of Indomitable. And a second use of Action Surge. At 18th level, we get our last thing for when we talk about the superior war magic. At 19th level, we get an ability score improvement. One last one, which will probably be an actual feat. Or no. Yeah, it's going to be one more ability score improvement. And then at level 20, Lemon Stony Hut isn't too bad if you need to maybe quote unquote save. Non-detection isn't a bad one either. Dispel Magic is probably the better one to take, just for its utility. If you wanted to go more offensive, you could probably go with Lightning Bolt, or even any of the other offensive spells. Level 17, we now have 2 uses of Action Surge and 3 uses of Indomitable per long rest. Level 18, we have Advanced War Magic, so now when we use a spell, on one action to cast a spell, we can use an action or a bonus action to attack. And that's any spell, so we could cast a spell right on top of someone and then attack. Level 19, we got our final ability score improvement, which will be Constitution to get it maxed out. We have Full Hearts If you wanted to change out one of the feats for one, you could. Honestly, you probably could change out Warcaster for tough to get extra hearts, since you've got 213 HP, not bad. Another spell at level 19, we can learn a level 4 spell. I liked All It Took's Resilient Sphere, personally. I think it's a great one. Banishment's also not a bad spell either. Mordecai's Private Sanctum isn't too bad either. There's a lot of things you could do. Ice Storm, if you wanted to be a lot more offensive and maybe do something really big, Ice Storm's probably a good one. Change it up. Yeah, I think that's better there. And then at level 20, we Capstone. And our Capstone is a 3rd extra attack. So, we also, I believe, get one more spell. Up to level 4. Any level 4 spell for the wizard. Arcane Eye isn't too bad of a spell. Dimension Door is pretty good. Hallucinatory Terrain. Polymorph is a good one. Fabricate is really good too. There's a lot of things you could honestly go with. Locate creature if you're trying to find something. Stone Skin if you know, are just like, hey, I want to be much more tanky and frontliney, and if that's honestly probably the way you'd probably want to go, unless you're trying to be a bit more solo play and use Odaluk's Resilient Sphere. I would honestly say Stone Skin, Polymorph, hell, even Everett's Black Tentacles. You could do so many different things. Dimension Door is really good. Conjure Minor Elementals. I mean, there's a lot of very good ones. Banishment is really good if you wanted to get a little crazy. Blight. If you really just wanted to do some damage, you know. I mean, banishment isn't too bad. There's a lot. Phantasmal Killer. That's actually really good with the with what we came across with this, with the Arcane Charger ability. No. The Eldritch Strike. They have disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes against a spell before the end of our next turn. What that means is you can use your attacks, guarantee a hit with the extra attacks, and then use your action surge to cast something like Phantasmal Killer. Target must be whizzing, so on a failed save they become frightened at whatever is above. They take 40/10 psychic damage on a failed save. That might be good. Or Polymorph is also a good one. You can choose to change them into something that's easy to deal with, you know. Now they have disadvantage on the save DC. There's a lot you could do. Banishment's probably the best one. Do action surge, cast Banishment. Or Dimension Door your way out. Yeah, I would say Banishment is probably our best bet here. For just a really interesting the end of the thing fight. You get in there, you hit a swing, and boom. They had to succeed. The charisma saving throw would be banished. Yeah, it's really powerful. And this is what I would do. Again, when it comes to equipment, you'd probably hopefully want to get more magic weapons But obviously, when it comes to weapons, you would be having a long sword, a long bow, a war hammer, as well as, honestly, I would probably take the crossbow, not the crossbow, sorry, the hand axe, and I would take its stats, or maybe even, honestly, the light hammer. Take its stats, all of its stats, and make a boomerang out of it and give it the returner feature. Maybe even shorten its range if you wanted to. Maybe just give it a single range, like 45 or 50, so that way it doesn't have really a disadvantage range if you wanted. I guess you could. Well, I guess I would, yeah. Maybe keep it like that, or maybe even, yeah, drop it to 10 and 50 or 10 and 40, and then give it the returning feature. And then have it be that it returns at the end of your turn. So you can't just, throw it and then throw it. It only returns at the end of your turn. And maybe even then you can keep that. That's how I'd work that in. If you do something like that. Also, other items, I'd probably get something like the, what was it? The chain shot. And definitely going to get stuff like magic ammunition would be cool. Potions, obviously, stuff like that to get you in there. And then, yeah, maybe allowing you to craft potions or craft other stuff. Outside of that, yeah. That is Link. Next, I think I'll make Reinhardt. I'll see if the person who really wanted Ryan's still on. If not, then I'll probably call it a day. Alright, well, with that, I'm going to call it. Glad to see that this did work a bit. I'll be probably doing more streams soon. I'll be trying to do a few different things later on. I might even try to do like writing stuff or something. But for now, I'm just going to peace out, go play some games, maybe with a friend, have a snack. You all have a good night. Thanks to those who tuned in, especially you, Bobby Gapo. I think I know who you are. I know you. Thank you for joining. That's been Making Link. Let me know what you think. Have a good night. And have a good fucking day.